Hello YouTube, this is Geeky Austin, and today we are going to take a look at the SH Monsterarts Shin Godzilla 2018 re-release. Shin Godzilla stands at just about 7 inches tall from the top of his head, and with his tail curled upward, his tail reaches up to almost 10 inches. And here he is next to the SH Monsterarts Godzilla 94 first issue and the NECA Shin Godzilla. So, without a doubt, the SH Monsterarts Shin Godzilla is a massive figure. Alright, now let's look into detail. Overall, the detail on this guy is definitely very good, and just like the original release, the detail and job is actually very nice. Very nice bumps and crevices, nice gills right here. All the scarring that's very present on Shin Godzilla is here too. Down on the legs as well, right here. The extra claws on the feet are nice. All the ridges right there. Then, of course, all this continues onward all the way up to the tip of his tail. And the tip of his tail does have this lovely spinal look. And unlike the NECA version, there is a face present right there on the tip. And then when it comes to his spines on his back, also, again, very nicely detailed, but very sharp, so yeah, you gotta be very careful handling this guy. And I do love the little bit of tension in this spot here with all this wrinkles and everything. It reminds me so much of damaged tissue right here in between the spines. And again, that detail kind of continues all the way up to about here, where it then just becomes more like this here, just a rigid spines. So definitely in the detail department, this figure shines a lot. Even the likeness on the face is really good, despite the odd-looking shape on the mouth. That's the only gripe I really had about even the original version, is just that profile does look kind of cool, but it's not accurate. His mouth should be much more straight up here on the top, not bowing out like it is. And then, of course, on the inside of the mouth, even the interior of the mouth is nicely detailed, all the wrinkles and everything going on in there. The teeth are very nicely done as well, the little eyes. So yeah, all around, the detailing on this guy is very good. And as for the paint job is where the previous figure tore people apart and divided them so much. Some people liked it, lots of people hated it. And that was because of the poor execution with the paint job. Thankfully, on this figure, a lot of those problems have been fixed, but it's still not perfect. There are still a few noticeable spots. First off, right off the bat, the teeth are actually nicely painted. There's not any paint bleeding going on around the gums, which is very nice. It can be present on both sides. It's actually really good that all the teeth right here is so decently painted, way better than before. The pupils in the eyes are not as wonky as they used to be, and the bleed of red that went through the entire figure around the neck and other spots, it's still present here, like right here, and you can probably see just a little bit of a hint of it right here on this piece. And again, on the legs too. But overall, about the most that it's the more noticeable is like right here around the tail area and just several random segments. And of course you can see kind of right there how it's darker here but more red right here, so it's not divided very well. And out of all the spots, this is the only piece of Shin Godzilla that is it's not painted very well. I wish they could have done a better job. But even the toes are painted nicely, same with his claws on his hands. And again, as I stated before, the interior of the mouth is done well. So, yeah. The paint job this time around, it's still not perfect, but it is a step in the right direction than what the first release gave us. Alright, now on to articulation. Once again, if you've seen the original Shin Godzilla, nothing is different here. The articulation is still the same. The head is not connected to a ball joint, but instead the upper and lower jaw are connected to ball joints, so you can move his jaw up that high, down that low, and the same for the lower jaw. You can move it like that, and yeah, you can even get some very derpy looks because you can wiggle it around like that. So yeah, that's a nice look, ain't it? But anyways, other than that, there's a ball joint right here in this next part of his neck, which is not very free. You can get a little bit out of it, but if most, it just helps with making the curling of his neck look more natural. The next one down in this neck, now this is the one that's actually the best. You can get his neck to go down that far, look up that far, and side to side ain't too bad. You can make his head turn around very well using these two joints. So yeah, and the necks and the head is not too bad. There's a loose piece right here that's freely moving around because there's a ball joint system in the arms right here, which you can allow to move his arms up about that high, and of course back down that far, all the way around, of course. Well, that part can go all the way around, excuse me. And of course right here, it's more like a ball joint that can nicely work as a little bit of a hinge, but you can still move that around if you wish. It's not that difficult. Same thing on this hand right here. You can move it all the way around and you can get just about that much out of it, not a whole lot. And then moving down to the torso, we got two spots right here that are both connected together with ball joints, and the first one can bend it down that far, revealing a very ugly looking gap, but that's where this bottom one comes in. If you take it and move that down too, you can realign up this here and make this gap not as ugly. And of course, you can get Shin Godzilla to bend down really far using these joint systems here. So you can pretty much recreate the scene where he's blasting his atomic beam right onto the streets of Tokyo. And of course, there's a ball joint right here in his leg, which can rotate, okay, almost all the way around. It gets hindered by the sculpt. And of course you can sway his leg out about that far and then about that far. And of course right here is another ball joint that allows you to bend his knee back about that much and forward that much. And yeah, you get a little bit of side to side motion right there. And right here on the foot is of course another ball joint, which you can, one second, you can bend them down about that far, not a whole lot, and you can bend it forward about that much. And there is a nice little bit of an anchor rocker, if I can, there we go. There is a nice bit of an anchor rocker, and you can rotate it around a good bit. And that's the articulation for the arms and legs and the body. And last but not least, in the articulation department comes what is pretty much the most impressive thing about this figure, and that is his freakingly massive tail. All total, starting from here to the very end, is a total of 16 joints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And with these 16 joints, you can really get his tail to pose in so many different ways that you would like, and get so many dynamic shots with this. And this is definitely the more interesting part of this figure, because I've never had a Godzilla figure that had so much articulation in one spot to allow me to just pose it however I would like. So yeah, with a total of 15 joints, you can get this dang tail to do just about any pose you want, almost. And that right here is just about as far as it can curl back to the front. I'm pretty sure you could probably do a bit more, but I'm a bit disturbed of popping these joints out by accident. I really don't want to do that. And as for accessories, just like the original release, this guy does not come with anything, which would be a bit of a disappointment to some, including me. It would have been nice if they put at least something with this, but for about $130 with shipping, that's how much mine costs, but let's say around $110 to $130, whatever, around the price range of this guy. Honestly, you get what you ask for. I honestly think this is worth that amount of money. Now, of course, the problems with the paint might deteriorate some people, but to me, this is again a nice step in the right direction. Now, if I have bought the original version, I would actually be much more angry and much more critical about this figure than I am now. And again, it might be a bit unfair for me to say bad things about a figure that I don't own. I don't have the original release of this guy. But from all the pictures, all the reviews I've seen, and all the feedback from customers that have bought it, honestly, I understand how they feel, and I don't think there's much of a need for me to own the figure to see for myself if it's crap or not. But this guy, again, with a little bit of maybe touch-up jobs, he would be 100% perfect. But as for he is now, I still think he's worth getting. The detail is great. The paint job, again, is a hit-and-miss area. Mine is basically just around the tail, but other than that, it looks really good. The articulation is dang right impressive. And his scale is massive. I do like how big of a figure this guy is. And the lack of accessories, to me, is just disappointing, but for what you get, I'd say this is worth the money. So I definitely suggest that you try to get this guy before he sells out, because for whatever reason, SH Monsterarts figures, including Shin Godzilla related products, go up for stupid prices when they're out of stock. So if you want to get him, I suggest you get him as soon as possible. And thank you all so much for watching. This has been Geeky Austin.